Alright, everyone, so you've all waited long enough, and I think it's time for my Wave 2 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass review. I'll be honest, I've been putting this off for quite a while because I just didn't feel like making it. I felt it would take way too much editing. Then I realized I can just put the trailer on loop and, turn off all the sound and just talk over it. So that's what I'm gonna do. So, Booster Course Pass has been out, the second wave has been out for a while, and was it worth the nearly 5 month wait? Yeah, I'll say it. I'll say it. It was indeed worth the nearly 5 month wait. The tracks included, which were New York Minute, SNES Mario Circuit Free, Calamari Desert, Waluigi Pinball, Sydney Sprint, Snowland, Mushroom Gorge, and Sky High Sunday. I wouldn't say any of them are bad. The lowest any of them get are mediocre, which is a lot better than a certain previous wave. Wave 1 had some pretty bad tracks. It did have some good tracks, but there were some bad tracks. So, let's start out by talking about the graphics. They are a massive improvement. The graphics of the second wave are a massive improvement. I'm not a fan of the fabric texture, in Waluigi Pinball, but beside that, it is one of the most beautiful DLC courses. It is the most beautiful DLC course. The graphics are so good in this track. Snowland doesn't even look like a tour track. It looks like a complete it looks like a base game track, but the city tracks you can definitely still tell they're tour tracks, and same goes for the other tracks in the pack. But it still does look really, really nice compared to those first two cups. Now that we're done talking about the graphics, before we get into talking about the quality of the new tracks, I want to talk about one small thing. Coconut Mall is quote unquote fixed. The cars now move, but they're not as and it's really funny that they do the donuts instead of just going back and forth. But it kind of feels like they fixed laziness with more laziness. Because yeah, they didn't bother to fix the main problem in that they're not really much of an obstacle. They're pretty much completely static, and all that happens now is sometimes you'll get spun out by them when you're driving by, but that shouldn't happen because you just gotta go to the left and then you gotta go to the right. So it's definitely better than it was before, but I wouldn't say that they completely fixed it. And there are some people who are saying they prefer the donuts, and that's valid. I just don't agree. I don't agree that this is I don't agree that it's better than what it was originally. It is better than them being completely static. It's not better than them driving back and forth. Now then, to cover the actual tracks, New York Minute is a very fun, just a very fun track in general. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's basically like they took Tokyo Blur and they made it good. They made it more fun. And most importantly, there's a shortcut on the final lap. The only lap without a shortcut is lap 2. And honestly, the fact that they have a shortcut on the final lap just makes it infinitely better. I should mention that Wave 2 has drastically lowered my thoughts on Wave 1. It used to be like an 8 out of 10 for me. Now Wave 1 is like a 5 out of 10 because of how good Wave 2 is. Now then, next up we have SNES Mario Circuit Free. It's SNES Mario Circuit Free. It's definitely the low light of the entire wave for me. Um, but it's still a decently fun track, especially on 200. I just wouldn't see myself playing it every day, and it kind of sucks because, oh my gosh, are they just gonna make the second track of every wave terrible, or at least the worst track in the wave? I have seen people be like, and I've seen people get all defensive of Toad Circuit, saying, "Oh, it's a beginner course. It's not supposed to be. Like it's a beginner course. And it's a good beginner course." Yeah, but here's the thing: Toad Circuit is the 50th course in Mario Kart 8, so I don't think that's a valid argument because, like, it's a wasted slot in the DLC that could have been taken up by something that was more deserving. Or heck, just a better circuit track from the same game, Mario Circuit. That's like one of the best Mario circuits in the series. Prettiest Mario Circuit. That should have been what they put in there instead of Toad Circuit. Toad Circuit. It should have been Mario Circuit. Anyways, speaking of Mario Circuits, yeah, Mario Circuit Free. It's decent. I would have preferred 2. Heck, I would have preferred 4, even though it's basically the same track, just mirrored. But it's decent. Mario Circuit Mario Circuit Free is decent. Calamari Desert, which is on screen now. I absolutely love how instead of taking the uh the predictable route and just forcing you onto the tracks for the entirety of laps 2 and 3, instead of just having the entire lap 2 and 3 be exactly the same as a Calamari Desert 2, you can actually switch between the main road and the tracks, which is a really interesting idea. You can even go onto the tracks during lap 1. What do you know? That's pretty cool. I will say though, the train isn't enough of a hazard. I'll often be able to get by just in time when it's when I take the main. So if you take the main road, sometimes you'll find that the train is just blocking you. But if you go as far to the left as possible or whatever, you'll be able to make it. It kind of ruins the magic of the track from N64, where you kind of get blocked off, but whatever. It also has the issue of the train. It doesn't really get in the way enough during the track section. The train isn't really timed right to where it gets in the way. And I get that it would make dodging bananas literally impossible, but it's such a short train that I feel like it should just be forced onto you that the train's gonna get in the way. But now that we're done talking about Calamari Desert, I can talk about Waluigi Pinball, and it's Waluigi Pinball. It is one of the most overrated tracks in the history of Mario Kart. It is not a top 10, it is not even a top 20, it's like a top 30 track. And you can't say that I don't play enough Mario Kart because I play way too much Mario Kart. Like, I play way too much Mario Kart, and I just think Waluigi Pinball's overrated. There are no shortcuts, which is kind of crazy considering the Booster Course Pass is the shortcut DLC, which we'll get to during the when talking about the Propeller Cup. But like, if you remember Wave 1, Ninja Hideaway had that insane roof cut on 200cc, and some of that is coming over to Wave 2 as well. Yeah, Waluigi Pinball gets nothing. It also still has basically nowhere to fall off. You can get shocked in the tunnel, or you can miss one. You can miss one of the big jumps, and that's it. There's basically nowhere to fall off unless you're riding on the rails, which is kind of pointless because what do you know? There's no shortcuts. So why would you even ride on the rails when there's no shortcuts you can get out of it? Lakitu is just annoying. But yeah, Waluigi Pinball, it's still the overrated track it's always been, and it will stay that way until they add a shortcut, because it's just kind of boring up until the final, 5 minutes. But now we're moving on to the Propeller Cup, and oh my gosh, if it wasn't for one track in this cup, this could be the best cup in the game. Sydney Sprint, my second favorite retro track in the entire game now, and also my second favorite DLC track. Yeah, Sydney Sprint. So I love Sydney Sprint because they kind of like what I expected was okay. First two laps, you kind of get a decision of will I be taking Sydney Sprint 1 or two's route? Will I be going through the Opera House, or will I be going in between the Opera House? Um, that's what I expected. I expected the first two laps to basically be okay. You can take you can take the first route, or you can take the second route. And then I expected but the second route would be in reverse. And then I expected the third lap to be the third route. Yeah, this took me completely by surprise. So you start out with the first lap with the first route as expected. It's a fairly short lap. Then on the second lap, you go to the second route. You go to the third route, which isn't even released yet. And instead of going back to the finish line, you go to the second route, and then you cross the finish line. But because the second route sends you in reverse, you're going in reverse for the third lap as well, where you're taking the first route again, but in reverse. So you're going Sydney Sprint free, Sydney Sprint 2, Sydney Sprint 1, and then Sydney Sprint R. It took me completely by surprise, and it is now my favorite of the city tracks. Wave 2 city tracks are just, they completely blow Wave 1's out of the water. Like, obviously, Paris was decent, but Tokyo was terrible. And now Wave 2 city tracks just completely blew it out of the water. Snowland. So Snowland was a track I was really hoping wouldn't be in the Booster Course Pass because it is one of my least favorite tracks in the series. That screen shake is just so annoying. Yeah, they completely just shattered my expectations when I actually got to play it. Not so when I saw Snowland, I was like, okay, it's probably gonna be a terrible recreation like Sky Garden. No, it is very accurate to the original. Like the minimap is nearly the same. And that completely caught me off guard. Just absolutely, completely caught me off guard. I was not expecting the minimap to be so accurate. It obviously is not 100% accurate. Like, think of Ribbon Road or Cheeseland. There are a few changes to the actual layout overall, but it's pretty good. It is missing the ice paths. It is missing that weird alternate route with the boost panels. But I don't care because, unlike Sky Garden, it's a good remake. And here's the thing about this: it has a shortcut. It has a really interesting shortcut that you wouldn't expect. So, if you got around the start of the race, you have like a bit of a U-turn or something going onto an ice lake. You can actually skip the turn entirely by going and seeing this little snowman. You take a right turn and you mushroom off of the hill onto the ice lake. That does not seem like an intentional shortcut, but the AI takes it, or not the AI, the staff ghost takes it. It's an intentional shortcut. Oh my gosh, that's insane! I love the shortcuts in this game. Um, I, I love the shortcuts in the Booster Course Pass. They are insane. Anyways, moving on, Mushroom Gorge. It's Mushroom Gorge, but here's the thing. They added in a completely separate mushroom asset from the one used in Sky Garden, specifically to have an accurate just to make the way it plays accurate to the original. Like, that's just completely insane to me. But yeah, it plays just like how it does in the original. And I love it. I love that it does that. What do I mean by this? Well, I mean this. You're literally, like, you're bouncing up a lot higher than you would on the mushrooms from Sky Garden. those have a low angle that you get launched up at. The ones on Mushroom Gorge, there's some of those low ones, but there's also the high ones, and the fact that they bothered with that is just incredible to me. They also brought back the gap cut, which is just making this a really great track already, because that is a very fun shortcut, and they brought back the starting cut, which is also, like, I'm not sure how useful it is, but I'm glad they brought it back, and you can do it shroomless on 200cc apparently, which I already know makes the time trials absolutely insane. But all good all good cups in Mario Kart have something bringing them down. Because you have Dolphin Shoals in the Star Cup ruining an otherwise near perfect cup, and with this one, you got Sky High Sunday, which I still believe to be the most overhyped track in the series. Because a lot of people, including myself, were super excited for it, only for it to end up as an oval with split paths. Now, I am a fan of the fact that the split paths are basically identical, because that's how I like my split paths. I don't like having to think, okay, should I take this path or this path? Should I take the fast path, or should I take a slow path that has less items on it because no one takes it? My main issue with Yoshi Valley is that the bridge path is way too good. There's no reason to take any other path, and there's a Mario Kart Wii custom track that actually turns that bridge path into an off-road shortcut, and that is such a great idea because it makes every other path actually somewhat viable. But with Sky High Sunday, yeah, every track is the same. Every path is the same, so there's no reason to worry about which track you should take. You'll be getting bananas everywhere anyways. But it's just an oval. It's just an oval with tricks. And it was designed for Tour. It's much more fun in Tour. But it's still an oval. And it's not the greatest to play. Now I will say, it does have that great shortcut that you can do. But it's still an oval. That big jump shortcut it doesn't change the fact that it's still an oval. I would legitimately prefer them to remove I would legitimately trade that shortcut for a version of Sky High Sunday that uses a bunch of different variants from Tour. In fact, you can probably go and check out my video about changing up the variants in Tour, changing up the laps of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Sky High Sunday to be like Tour. But it's still a decent track. It's like maybe B minus, C plus. But that's all I have to say about the tracks. I want to talk about the music. And once again, the music is really good. They didn't remix all the tracks, and some of the remixes are very faithful to the original. So let's start out. New York Minute. Let me just say, I can do the most cringe-worthy dances to New York. Wow. Wow, my voice. Not my voice. I messed up with that. New York Minute. I can do the most cringe-worthy dances to New York Minute. It is such a good song. But moving on, you got what's it called? SNES Mario Circuit 3. It's lame. They barely even changed it. You just get like a added bit of bass. It's a very faithful remix, but I'm hoping that the second SNES track, whether it be Bowser Castle or Vanilla Lake or Choco Mountain or Ghost Valley, I'm hoping that whatever track they choose for the second SNES track, they actually remix the track instead of just giving it a higher quality. But next up we got Calamari Desert, and it is a great remix. I absolutely love it. And moving on, we got Waluigi Pinball, which just reuses Wario Stadium. Yeah, I kind of predicted this happening a while ago, and it's kind of sad, but It was predictable. It was predictable that they were going to just reuse some music, so I guess we'll just have to deal with it. However, this does bring up a very scary point. Since they're not above reusing music, this also means that we could end up getting another Donut Plains as part of the DLC. We could get Donut Plains 1 or 2, and I don't want that. Give us Vanilla Lake. Give us something that isn't Donut Plains or Mario Circuit. Moving on to the Propeller Cup, and Sydney Sprint is one of the best songs in the game. It has no right to be as good as it is, but it just is. Mushroom Gorge, I'm skipping ahead of it, but Mushroom Gorge, it's a faithful remix. Like, it's like Ninja Hideaway. It's a good song already, but it could have been better. Snowland, excellent remix. Just excellent remix. And of course, Sky High Sunday. Surprisingly, this is also a remix. It was. I will not argue about this because it would be a dumb argument. But the tour version, the tour version of Sky High Sunday is the original. It was designed for tour. It was most likely in development before the Booster Course Pass. It was most likely in development before they decided to put it in Wave 2. What else? Oh yeah, maybe the fact that the music is in 8 Deluxe is clearly a remix instead of having Tours be the remix. Or instead of just having Tour reuse the same track. I've seen someone argue about whether the Tour or 8 Deluxe version of the song is the original, and here's my take. Imagine you write a song, perform it just for yourself, and never release it. Then, like, a week later, a friend comes over, they find the song, they take the song, they go home with the song, then your friend performs the song, records it, releases it, gives you no credit, but you still perform the song first. You just never released it. Then about a week later, you get the song back from them. You release the song. You release the song in its original. You release the song for the first time, but your friend already did a cover of it before it was even released and before it was ever public. Which was the original? Your song, your version of the song, was the original. And that's kind of where I stand on the Sky High Sunday music debate. Sky High Sunday's tour version is the original because it was most definitely composed before 8 Deluxe's version. It doesn't matter if 8 Deluxe is released first, because Sky High Sunday, because Tours was composed first. And that makes Tours the original. And yeah, that's my stance on the Booster Course Pass. I give Wave 2 a, I'm probably going to lower it again in the future, but 8 out of 10 yet again. So we got 5 out of 10 on Wave 1 now, since I lowered my ranking, and 8 out of 10 on Wave 2. Things are looking decent. Let's hope Wave 3 can, keep improving. I do know 2 tracks now instead of just the 1. So, yeah, what do you know? My, Wave 3 predictions were a bit off. But I'm excited for Wave 3, and I'll probably talk about it in, January or something. Farewell.